Good morning. Meeting number 2 of the Senate Standing Committee on Education will come to order. Announcing right out of the gate, we are allowing some standing room in the back. We have 2 large groups here today. Didn't expect a turnout. Didn't know this education was so popular. But we do have an overflow room also in room 149. I'm sorry, 169. Thank you. 169. And ask everyone as usual to silence your cell phones and be quiet as people are speaking. If you wish to speak, it's mandated that you sign in the sign-up sheet at the back. And if you're allowed to speak, that will be at the total discretion of the chair. Please call the roll.
Senator Carroll. Senator Givens. Senator Higdon. Senator Meredith. Senator Neal. Senator Rawlings.
Present.
Senator Reed.
Yes.
Senator Thomas.
Here.
Senator Williams.
Here.
Senator Wilson.
Here.
Senator Wise.
Here.
Vice Chair Tishner.
Here.
Chair West.
Here. We have a quorum. We are duly constituted to conduct business. First on the agenda today, we have Wash Away Nicotine Youth Advocacy Group. If you will step forward and be prepared to present. Whenever you get seated, the microphones have a green light. So if you want to speak in the microphone, you'll have to press that button until you see the green light. This is a very unusual situation here as we start off. I told this group they have 5 minutes to speak because we're tight on time. Actually, we only have one presentation after this, so you've got 10 minutes rather than 5 minutes. And so the floor is yours. Whenever you are ready, state your name for the record into the microphone and then proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. My name is Griffin Nemeth.
My name is Delaney Crump.
Make sure that green light is on and pull those a little closer if you don't mind.
Is this better, sir?
Yes.
Perfect.
Much better. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. I do want to thank you all, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee today for allowing us the opportunity to speak to you. We are here for a very important issue. Our program is the #I Can End the Trend program at the University of Kentucky. We are a youth education and prevention program focused on tobacco issues. We are here in conglomeration with all of our partner organizations today, many of which you do know, as well as over 150 youth and adult partners from all across the state of Kentucky. We're here to educate you all, your colleagues, and here to advocate for enforcement of the law which prohibits the sale of nicotine products to anyone under the age of 21. One of such advocates is my Youth Advisory Board member, Delaney Crump, and she's here to share her story and her why today.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Delaney, and I'm here not just as a youth advocate, but as a representative of a generation that is being targeted by an industry that profits from addiction. Every year, around 480,000 Americans die from tobacco-related illness. But today, I want to talk about the lives that tobacco takes before those deaths even begin. Imagine this, a middle schooler just 12 years old, trying a vape for the first time because it tastes like candy and their favorite influencer said it was cool. They don't realize that one pod contains as much nicotine as 20 cigarettes, and newer devices often contain more. They don't see the addiction coming, but it grabs hold of them anyways. By high school, they're hooked. This isn't just a hypothetical. It's happening in every classroom, every neighborhood, and every state in our nation. It's happening because the tobacco industry is spending billions of dollars annually to target kids like me, kids who are still growing, still learning, and still imagining what our futures could be. The facts don't lie. Nearly 1 in 10 middle school students and 1 in 5 high school students use e-cigarettes. Flavored tobacco products, menthols, sweet fruity vapes, are directly designed to appeal to youth. And let's not forget, nicotine can permanently damage developing brains. The consequences of inaction are devastating. This isn't just about lung cancer 30 years down the road. It's about kids dropping out of sports because their lungs can't keep up. It's about the anxiety and depression that nicotine addiction fuels. It's about academic distraction and underperformance. It's about an entire generation being stolen before they've had a chance to live. Here's what needs to happen. We need stronger enforcement of the Tobacco 21 law. First, we need to ensure that retailers are consistently checking IDs to prevent underage sales by establishing a licensing law and conducting annual compliance checks. We need to implement harsher penalties for stores that break the law, including the loss of their retail licenses, and we need to increase funding for compliance checks and enforcement programs to hold the industry accountable. These changes aren't radical, they're necessary. Every delay costs more lives. Every loophole in legislation lets addiction thrive. You have the power to make a difference. Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. What you do here could mean the difference between a 14-year-old taking their first puff or saying, "No, I know I'm better than that," or not facing that decision at all. There's a quote that inspires me every day. The true measure of a society is how it treats its most vulnerable members. Right now, youth are among the most vulnerable to the predatory tactics of big tobacco, but together we can change that. I'm asking you not to just hear me today, but to act. Boldly, decisively, and with the courage to put the health and the future of our youth above all else. Let's make this a turning point, not just another day of discussion. Thank you.
I think Delaney said it best when she talked about the story of these young people. It's not just the story of those which she's referencing. It's the story of all those in this room, all the stories of those in the other room. It's the stories of all those students across Kentucky. Youth are suffering from this crisis, and it is because the industry has strategically manipulated them for years and years and years. And now you'll find an e-cigarette, I should clarify, not just in the hands of students as young as 14, but those as young as 8 or 9 we're finding. Students who do not have the education to make that informed decision for themselves. What we're asking you to do today is to consider something, like Delaney said, that is not radical, but rather necessary. Licensing of retailers is not an anti-business decision, which we know you all care so much about protecting our Kentucky economy. It is an opportunity to protect public health, to protect the public health of our youngest generation, and ensure that those to come do not suffer the same consequences that those who are present now are. We hope that you take this seriously and that our students will meet with you today and you will hear their experiences. We know that you all so strongly advocate for public health, you advocate for education, and you advocate for all Kentuckians, and that's all we're asking you here today. We appreciate your past support, your present support, and any future support that you will give us. We hope that licensure comes top to mind when it is proven and effective approaches to curbing this youth nicotine use epidemic. I want to thank you all again today.
Thank you so much for that excellent presentation. There's been a lot of bills flying around over the past few years as it relates to vaping, especially vaping in schools. At this time, you're well within your time limit. Thank you. That's very unusual here. Will any questions from members of the committee or comments? Senator Higdon.
Mr. Chairman, thank you all for your presentation. There's been a rumor floating around that there will be a bill coming to license retailers, and hopefully that'll come to fruition fairly soon.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other members have questions or comments for this set of speakers? Senator Meredith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate y'all's presentation today, and certainly the health of our youth is a priority for all of us, and you've got a strong message to sell. I think part of that message, we need to tell folks that this is great for our economy too, because healthcare costs is expanding at a rate that we can't sustain it. So I think that's one way we get the business community on board, is it could be beneficial to them as well. But I applaud your efforts. We need to make sure we're getting this out to our young people and providing whatever measures we can to provide the protection that's necessary. But appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions from members? Seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. Excellent presentation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Have a
Chairman.
nice day. Up next on the agenda, we have a presentation from Cloverport Independent School District. We have 3 speakers prepared. Once again, as before stated, whenever you're ready to proceed, you got to hit the little green button there in front of you. When you're ready and settled, state your name for the record. The way we're going to do this, I believe we have a 45-minute segment here. So at 11 we have a hard stop. So that's when we'll stop. I think we have some students that want to speak after you, and we're going to have to work on paring this down a little bit. 12 are signed up, so we're going to try to get that to a reasonable number. but the floor is yours. This is a very important subject regarding virtual schools in Kentucky. Please proceed.
Thank you all very much. My name is Keith Haynes. I have had the pleasure for the last 9 years of being the superintendent of Cloverport Independent School District. Would like to acknowledge Senator Meredith. He represents our district, and we're proud to have him as our senator here in the General Assembly. Next to me, we'll let them introduce themselves.
Sorry about that. I'm Brandy Fagan, the high school principal for the Kentucky Virtual Academy.
And I'm Sally Johnson, the K-8 principal and the founding principal of our school.
And quickly, we have a lot of folks here with our academy, and if you are a student or a parent or somehow connected to our virtual academy, if you just stand up for the members to see. Thank you all very much. Sorry, age has gotten to me. Let me put my cheaters on.
I understand.
KYVA is a full-time virtual program of Cloverport Independent School District with just over 175 Kentucky certified teachers and staff and just under 2,800 students. KYVA teachers and staff are Cloverport employees. Many teachers in KYVA left the teaching workforce or experienced challenges that make in-person teaching difficult. The majority of our teachers are veteran Kentucky teachers with between 10 and 15 years of in-person classroom experience. KYVA has become a perfect fit for teachers looking for a way to stay in the profession. This virtual program serves any Kentucky family choosing this public option, regardless of income, proficiency, or background. KYVA prides itself on meeting every student where they are. KYVA serves a highly at-risk population, including 55 homeless students, in which their virtual education might be the only stable and consistent part of their living situation. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our families. The families are choosing to enroll in KYVA for a number of reasons, but the most common stories we hear are health issues that make in-person school either impossible or challenging, causing chronic absenteeism. School safety concerns such as extreme bullying or violence in the previous school, autism and other developmental disorders, mental health issues such as severe anxiety, severe behavioral issues that could not be handled well in the traditional setting, family situations that make attending in-person school regularly difficult, and the need for a more flexible schooling environment, including for student athletes. Roughly 500 students enrolled are prior homeschool students. KYVA utilizes live synchronous instruction across all grade levels. All students must participate and attend live instruction. This is a key differentiator for our program to many others. In a little bit, I will turn it over to our two principals to talk about the specifics of our instruction and services. As a brand new program navigating the regulatory landscape, we have had our challenges and growing pains. Admittedly, many of these stem from the tremendous demand the program has seen from Kentucky families. Every family enrolled and that you see here today chose KYVA through their own research and desire to find a new program for their students. One of our largest stumbling blocks for our program has been existing teacher-to-student ratios for virtual programs that must meet in-person requirements here in Kentucky. My team works very hard to get teachers hired quickly, onboarded, and so forth in a very timely manner. And that is often a challenge, as any of you have worked in a school district know, when you're in mid-year to get new folks on, but we have managed to do so. Due to the challenge of hiring late into a school year, at the end of 2024, we made the difficult decision to stop enrollment with an extensive wait list of over 400 families. One benefit of virtual schools is the absence of physical and temporal boundaries. Forcing virtual schools into the same exact time restrictions and class sizes inhibits the ability to utilize flexible scheduling and technology to our advantage and to allow for small group sessions and larger if appropriate. A teacher in a virtual program is not bound by the four walls of the classroom and can create different virtual classrooms throughout his or her day with different numbers of students. We remain committed to solving this problem, but also look forward to discussions about flexibilities to make this work better for these families. Another challenge for us last year in was participation in the in-person screenings and testings. Short screening and testing windows make in-person testing for virtual students very difficult given families must travel to testing locations. However, we recognize that we must increase our testing participation, and Sally will discuss some of the specific plans to do so this school year. Perhaps the largest criticism that I appreciate the chance to address today has been that of KYVA's proficiency scores. First, it is important to paint the whole picture and look at where KYVA students were prior to enrollment. Most students were not proficient prior to enrollment in KYVA. In English Language Arts, 59% of students were not proficient on their most recent state test, and 79% were not proficient in math. Of the prior scores we have, and access to records remains an issue, only 12% of our students were proficient in both subjects. When looking specifically at elementary, only 8% of incoming students were proficient in both subjects prior to enrollment. These numbers do not surprise those of us who work with our families because KYVA serves a highly at-risk population, and the stories our families tell reflect the difficulties their students were having in their prior school environments. Secondly, KYVA is just 1 year old. Utilizing data of just one school year to condemn a brand new program does not give our teachers and staff the chance to work with our students and improve. However, I want to acknowledge positive areas as well. Our middle school ranked in the top 50% of middle schools in Kentucky, and our high school ranked in the top 40% of all high schools in Kentucky. I'm proud of this work in our first year serving many families who felt their students were falling through the cracks. I have our elementary school principal here with me today who can talk through some of the specific measures KYVA is taking to improve our proficiencies, in particular in elementary school. As you can see from the support behind me, KYVA means something to many, many families. It is not just proficiency scores or data points in the system. KYVA has become a place where many students, for the first time, enjoy school. I look forward to answering questions, but want to give Brandy and Sally time to talk about some specifics of the virtual program we offer.
Good morning again. I'm Brandy Fagan, and this is my 25th year as a Kentucky public school educator. Prior to joining KYVA this year, I served as a high school English teacher for 8 years, a school counselor for 5 years, and a junior-senior high school principal for 9 years. And I also worked as an educational recovery leader for the Kentucky Department of Education for 2 years prior to joining KYVA this year. And I say all of that to show my support of public schools in Kentucky, and also because I think it's really important to note that we are doing a lot of hard work here at KYVA to help students and families improve student achievement. KYVA is more than just online courses. We provide laptops to our families that may not be able to afford one, and we also provide hotspots when internet connectivity might be an issue. At the beginning of the school year, our students receive boxes and boxes of materials so that they can participate in hands-on learning as well as the virtual learning that they receive. This may mean art supplies for our elementary students or microscopes for science for our high school students. KYVA is a public school, and as a result, our curriculum is aligned to the Kentucky state standards. As Superintendent Haynes mentioned, KYVA uses full-time teachers and live instruction. This allows us to create individually tailored educational experiences for students and create small group sessions and even just one-on-one sessions with students when needed. We offer wraparound services, just like a traditional public school, such as special education services. Students with disabilities are supported by their general education teacher in the least restrictive environment, and in addition to receiving supportive services of a special education teacher. Many accommodations and modifications that are implemented in a brick and mortar setting are also implemented at KYVA. Students may also receive related services such as speech or physical therapy. As it does in a traditional school setting, the experience for our younger learners differs from that of our older students. Students at the high school level participate in virtual science labs, they collaborate on live documents in their English courses, and they participate in project-based learning. Teachers incorporate various instructional tools and apps and also gamify learning to increase student engagement and participation. These apps and experiences allow students to interact during instruction rather than simply listening to a lecture or reading content material. At our faculty meetings this year, I'm proud to say that each month I choose a staff member who, when I go in and visit their classroom, I see something really awesome happening, and they are sharing each month a cool instructional strategy with their colleagues so that this just shows how we are constantly working to provide new and unique learning experiences for our students. And all of our efforts to improve student learning and achievement are best evidenced by our growth this year on our MAP scores, measures of academic progress. We have data that shows we have seen great growth from fall to winter. This growth is a testament to our strong group of teachers who have worked to provide MTSS supports in reading and math through our intervention process, as well as through Tier 1 instruction. We also strive to be a whole community for our families and students. We offer clubs and a virtual community called K-12 Zone, where students can safely interact and socialize with each other in line with their personal interests. High school students at KYVA have the opportunity to join career and technical student organizations, as well as other clubs and activities, such as FBLA, DECA, TSA, HOSA. Our FBLA group of students are currently preparing for the state FBLA convention in March, and we have a debate club, and those students are prepping to participate in tournaments offered by the Kentucky High School Speech League. And next week, our Technology Student Association is heading to a regional competition. At this time, I would like to pass the mic to Sally to talk specifically about steps that the elementary is taking to improve proficiencies and increased efforts around implementing in-person screenings and testing.
Thanks, Brandy. Good morning, committee members. I'm Sally Johnson. As a reminder, I am the K-8 principal here at Kentucky Virtual. As our superintendent has already indicated, and many of our students come to Kentucky Virtual at the elementary level, far below grade level. Throughout the year, we conduct many assessments, including MAP testing, and this testing tells us how our students are doing in regards to the state standards, what deficits they have, where they're strong in, and we look at these test scores frequently to make sure our students are on track. If our students are not on track, we meet with our teachers and we create plans, intervention plans, to make sure that we attack those deficits on a daily basis. Virtual school is often an option for many of our families because students may go in and out of different programs because of their family situation. And something important to note that we have found, and the research shows nationally, that when a student can stay in a program long term, they have better results than a student who is constantly changing schools. So when families have situations that they need to move a lot, whatever their situation is, at least our school can be that stable environment no matter what city, no matter what county they move in the state of Kentucky. And we're very proud of that because that is one thing that I've always wanted to do is keep my kids. Once I get them, I like to say they're mine. We know that there needs to be a lot of work done in the elementary level just because our kids are coming in at such a low level. And these students are coming in at a low level because they were not successful in the in-person environment for whatever reason it might have been. It could have been because of behaviors. It could have been because they have multisensory issues. Whatever the case is, we know that we have some work to do in our elementary students with the interventions. So one thing we do is every student gets 30 minutes of intervention a day. That is with a teacher. That is they have a teacher teaching them, working on those deficit skills that they need to work on. That was based on not only their MAP scores, but their in-curricular assessments. These small groups are both for reading and math, and they are, again, introduced by levels. So we're not going to put a student being successful in a reading program to a student that's not that special. Individualized group is based on their individual and group, and we group them by their deficit level. All students are invited, even those that are on grade level, because we want to extend them. We want to accelerate them. So they are also invited to a small group. Our teachers are offering tutoring also based on parent requests. So not only are we doing the small group instruction, we are also saying, hey, if your student needs additional help, we have office hours, or they can request additional support with the teacher after school. Our teachers are, students are engaging with our Amira reading program, both 30 minutes a week. They have to be in that program. This is above the intervention that the teachers are doing in live sessions. This is addition to, so they work on the Amira program that focuses on fluency and phonics. And the 30 minutes a week is what is recommended by the program. That shows when students work in this program for 30 minutes, they are more apt to make reading gains. We also utilize Stride arcade skills for reading and math. And the great thing about this program is we can individualize the lessons again to attack the students' deficits. And again, they are placed in these programs based on their MAP scores, which is that diagnostic test that we do 3 times a year, as well as our in-curricular assessments. Teachers are also creating tailor-made lessons that I was talking about, those very direct instruction. The teachers are creating those to meet the needs of the students. And these lessons are based on multiple measures. Number one, they're based on the MAP scores, that diagnostic test, the Amira results, that other reading intervention we're doing, and also non-mastery in the general curriculum. So that's how the teachers are deciding what deficits to attack for those kids. It's like a prescription. A doctor says, okay, this is your medical need. We do the same thing in education. Your need is that you are struggling in phonics, so we're going to give you more phonics instruction, and that's your prescription. So that's how we like to look at it at the elementary level. We are also ensuring our teachers and instructional coaches and principals are trained in the KDE recommended letters program. We have hired many of our elementary teachers are already certified, and those that are not certified, right now we have 11 of them, and they are going through the letters training. Our instructional coach is going through the letters training. I'm going through the letters training, and the letters training is specifically in regards to the science of reading. There's a very specific way we teach reading, and they are making sure that our teachers are following that formula. I do observations. Our instructional coach do observations. We do peer observations to make sure all of our teachers are teaching at the high quality that we expect them to teach. Let's see. Getting students to go to school virtually to an in-person does present many challenges, as parents are required to travel to these established sites, and students cannot simply just test in a school as a traditional school. Normally, when you're a traditional school, they say, okay, periods 2 and 3, we are going to test. That's not how it works for us, because again, we serve the entire state. We have over 20 regional testing sites where we invite students to go, and it's the testing site that is closest to their home. One thing that Brandy and I are doing to really get parents to get there is we're writing things in our newsletter. We're holding parent meetings. We're going to be doing some more parent meetings to let parents know and understand the importance of in-person testing. This is a state requirement, and so this is something we're really working on to make sure our kids are getting to this testing. We are taking, like I said, significant steps to increase the participation, and we are hoping that all of these steps will help increase that when we come test in March. Right now, Betsy Hernandez is our testing coordinator, and she's making sure that we get as many sites as possible for our students. We've also established specific protocols, for quick scheduling of makeup testing for students who are no-shows of the day of the testing. And one thing I like to brag about is KDE came down to one of our sites, and they saw what our protocol is for testing. And Chris Williams is the name of the lady from KDE, and she had made the comment that she wished all schools followed our protocol, because they were very impressed with the security level we had to make sure that our testing was valid and accurate. I think that's all the information I have today to share.
Yes, thank you all for the opportunity to present, by the way.
I've got we're going to hold questions right now, Senator Higdon. I'm going to call an audible here. If you all could step to the back. I've got a long list of speakers. I've been told there are 3 parents who want to speak. I don't know who they are. If you would step forward, and what we're going to do is give some parents the chance to speak, give a few students the chance to speak, and then we'll circle back and allow time for questions. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I don't care how you split it up, but I need all of you to stay within like 5 minutes, and then we're going to allow the students to come up. And please make sure the green light's on, state your name for the record, and proceed.
There we go. My name is Jennifer Yaden. I have a child at KYVA in the 6th grade. I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to come and speak to you today. This is heavy and very meaningful to us. And I have to be very, very honest. When I found out this news, my immediate response and my remaining response is I'm angry. I'm angry and I'm really weary and I'm heartbroken. I've had to fight for my child his entire life. I fought for his life in the womb to keep him safe and healthy and viable. I fought for both of our lives during a complicated and dangerous labor and delivery. I fought for his ability to grow and thrive as an infant. We fought RSV and severe food allergies, which we continue to fight. We fought for access to the right doctors, for getting the right diagnoses and the right treatments. We fought for quality therapy. We fought the insurance companies who had no desire to cover what my child actually needed. We fought to pay the bills and make ends meet with all of these expenses, and then to pay for private school because our public schools would not and could not serve him well and meet his needs. We fought many sleepless nights trying to figure out what we were going to do for middle school, since our amazing private school could not afford to offer a middle school option without the state's support of public charter schools. We found KYVA and decided we would give it a chance. It seemed like the best option out of what was available to us. We agreed that if the program didn't provide a quality education and a strong learning environment, we would come back to the table and reevaluate. And then school began, and we got to know this program and the teachers and the other students. I was blown away by the quality and the care with which the KYVA program is run. I am particular, and I don't settle for mediocrity when it comes to my children's education, so that is really saying a lot. My son's teachers are phenomenal, truly, and he's thriving as a student and as a human being. He attends every class with no issues. He gets his work done. He makes great grades. He participates in his classes, and he's actually making some really great friends, which is huge. And on top of all that, he's learning. He has no anxiety. There's no bullying. There's just high energy teachers who are really good at what they do, providing education in a format that is safe and affirming for my child and so many other people's children as well. Finally, we were able to take a breath and stop fighting. Finally, we were all at peace knowing that he is getting a great education in a supportive environment where he can fully be himself. He is safe, he is learning and growing as a person. We can rest in this goodness and encourage him to bloom and grow. And then we received word that once again our world was being turned upside down. Once again, our peace and our sanity and my son's well-being is being threatened by certain lawmakers who do not care about the multitude of students who are just like my son. Students who are being failed by the standard public school system because they need something different. To continue to stand in the way of alternative school choice is discrimination against students with special needs, and it's utterly wrong in my opinion. It's unethical in my opinion. Needs among students vary due to so many contributing factors, and there's no single school model that can effectively meet all of those needs. Our children with special needs deserve choice. Parents with children with special needs deserve choice. They are our children. They don't belong to the state. We are raising individuals, the individuals who will eventually be responsible for all of our futures, not a nameless, faceless horde. We know what is best for them, and we want what is best for them, and we deserve to be able to make those decisions ourselves because we know our children. I can say with all certainty that KYVA saves lives. For the children who are the low-hanging fruit for bullies, it's a respite. For those who have anxiety, depression, other mental struggles, suicidal thoughts, life-threatening food allergies, asthma, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, the list goes on and on and on, it allows them to learn without worry or physical consequence. For the children who are naive and just a little bit too good for this world, the ones who become the prey in our standard public schools, it is safe. it is safe. Imagine being able to access a full and rich education in an environment that is safe. Imagine that for yourself, for your child, for your grandchildren. These students flourish, they thrive in ways that we haven't seen before. For all the reasons above, I am sure that the local public school systems will not recover many funds from the majority of KYVA students who will be displaced if our school is closed. We are here because our local public schools have already failed them. We already know how to fight for our kids because we've spent much of our lives doing it. We will sacrifice for them. We will homeschool or find other virtual options or stretch our finances to the brink to send them to private schools. Because to us, nothing matters more. It's time, in my opinion, to end this discrimination. It's time to wake up and take action to make sure that all of the students in our state have full and free access to the education that they deserve as individuals, the one that best fits their needs. Please stand up for us and for our children. In doing so, you will be saving lives, ours as parents, theirs, and the generations that go beyond them. Thank you.
Please proceed. State your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Erica Evans-Bear. Thank you for accommodating our group. It means so much, and what an honor it is for the students of KVA to get to see their government in action. I personally love getting into government and doing all the paperwork and seeing what makes the government tick. So getting to be here is an honor, and I really want to thank you for that. My daughter is in kindergarten. This is all she's known. We knew at a young age that she was going to need an IEP, and that scared me. The school she would go to is the one that I went to, and to say I do not have good memories of it is not doing it justice. I was prepared to homeschool. I gave up my career and went online and got my own education, my own upper education. But I gave up my career, and I will continue to do so if I need to, in order for my daughter to not have the same experience as I did, as someone who had suffered many health issues in my own schooling. KVA offers so much support. We didn't pay a penny. I bought extra notebooks because my daughter likes to scribble and draw, and it helps her focus. And I bought her coloring pencils, and that's all I've spent. They gave us a printer with paper and ink and a laptop and headphones and everything. Building blocks for tactile tools and learning, math, painting, which was all over my walls in a moment. But you know what we didn't have to worry about? Bulletproof backpacks, light up shoes, a life insurance policy. Our students are safe to get the education that they deserve. I still get notifications from my old school about when there's a threat. And I thank God every day. I don't have to worry about that. We had so much snow a few weeks ago. The only reason we missed classes because Cloverport closed. We could have continued classes in between letting her go outside and play in 18 inches of snow overnight. If KVA goes away, I'm homeschooling. I have a curriculum set up. I can start tomorrow if I need to, but I don't want to. I'm still a stay-at-home mom. I still don't really have a career, but I get to be an advocate for my daughter every day, and that's why I want to be here. The support that KVA gives families is not something I've never seen. I never received it as a student myself, so to get to see my daughter to have it, that's a blessing. Please don't take this blessing away from us. Thank you.
Okay. Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Hello, my name is Karen Clare, and I just want to thank everyone for having me here today. And I want to say that KYVA is very special and near and dear to my heart because, well, first of all, I have two sons in this school because my older son, who is now he goes to college, but he started at 16 because he told me, do not send my brothers to this public school. And before that, he was in private Catholic school. I have all sons, and it's been difficult because they're all very energetic. And everywhere I put them, schools cannot accommodate them. They won't accommodate them in person because of ADHD, anxiety, other issues that they have. And my children are absolutely wonderful. We have a small family business they help run. So they can actually bring their laptops that the schools provided and their printers to our business and help us run the business. So my children are absolutely wonderful people. They do help out in the community. It's not like they're missing out on anything. They're in sports. They're absolutely flourishing. They were not in school. All three of them started developing anxiety disorders from having safety drills for shooting and violence. It's just absolutely insane. And the fact of the matter is that I am a veteran. My husband's a combat veteran. And we did not think after being veterans and serving this country would even have to fight for this right, like being right here, right now, today. So it's very disheartening for me. I didn't prepare a speech. I just want to come up here and speak off the cuff from the heart. I think it's absolutely a phenomenal school. Every time I go to the mailbox, they keep mailing and sending us more stuff. Like, I'm talking about art kits this big. We have everything we could ever need and absolutely more to support our children at home. Another thing about this is that my children eat at home. They cook with me. They cook for me. We all prepare meals as a family. It's wonderful. I don't miss 1 second with my children. I resigned from a career after the military. Then I worked for DAV, and I resigned to homeschool my children after paying thousands to private schools, and then going to public school did not work. So I don't exactly know what's going on, the whole atmosphere of schools and being in person, but my children are doing absolutely wonderful at home. And these teachers and the support that they have, it's been absolutely phenomenal. And it's something that I do not want to lose. And if this is a matter, what actually really upsets me is that if you guys are going to cut this school based off test scores, that would be completely wrong, because my children, like Moses, for example, he wants to come up here and speak. He has ADHD, he has dyscalculia, and he has dyslexia. He has an IEP. He has not been accommodated in any way in public school or private school. No one took the time to sit down with him and do anything one-on-one. It was me every day. After I worked, after I traveled to support this country and veterans that served. And I just feel like, finally he has the support that he needs. And if the reason that he scored really low on tests, look at his test scores from the other schools. They're probably worse. So it's like just switching his environment would actually make it worse on him. He was just student of the month, which is insane, because if you ask any of his other teachers in person, he's in 7th grade. He would have never, ever even been considered for student of the month, because if you see him, he's probably been fidgeting this whole time. He has a lot of energy, but he's absolutely wonderful. And so is my other son, Marcellus. He started developing anxiety disorder in elementary from safety drills, where they would actually take desks and put them in front of the doors and then have canned goods. And I'm not kidding. This is true. My older son, who's 17 at Thomas More College, tells me they had canned goods and they get prepared to throw them if a shooter came into the school. So he said, do not send my children or my brothers to these schools. So anyway, that's all I really have to say. I just think if you went off of the test scores alone, that would be very unfortunate, because the school is too new to go off of brand new test scores. They really need a chance to be in the school for years, to grow and to thrive. And he does all of his work alone, which is a miracle, because I used to actually do his homework at these other schools. I mean, to be completely honest, judge me if you will, but if you have small children, it's very hard. They send home hours. So
That's on the record.
Yes. I mean, this should be very relatable. So my husband isn't here. He is working at our small business. And he just wanted me to say on his behalf as well that this has been the absolute blessing. It's been amazing. And we are hoping to God that you guys and the state that you guys keep this school open. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're going to have to end it right there because we got to leave 10 minutes for senators' questions. So if the superintendent and principals would come back up to allow for questions. If any members want to ask questions, please go ahead and get on the list. I'm going to start with a couple. We've heard some talk here from various presenters that the General Assembly is taking this away. Do you all feel? I don't think that's happening, but could you explain what?
Sure. Going back, and I hope I don't insult anyone's intelligence by telling you something you may already know, the Kentucky Board of Education passed an agency amendment to the KAR that governs virtual programs. And essentially what it does is cap a virtual program at 10% of a district's in-person enrollment. For us, prior to opening KYVA, we were one of, if not the smallest school districts in the state. We have an in-person population of about 275-ish students. So that means next year our district-wide virtual program, which is KYVA, could have about 27 students. That would be it. We currently, as I told you, we have about 2,800 students enrolled in KYVA and about 178 staff. So that action by the Kentucky Board of Education would require us to that would close KYVA. We would have to non-renew the contracts of all 175-ish teachers, and we would have to tell these 2,800 students that they're going to have to find another school to attend next school year.
So to be clear for the record, that is not the Kentucky General Assembly.
Correct.
That is the Kentucky Board
Correct.
of Education,
And
a
yes.
completely separate entity. Just
Yes.
to want to make that clear.
Yes, you're correct, sir.
What was interesting to me is the first part of your talk. You talked about proficiency and your scores. I thought you had low scores across the board, but it appears you're 50% proficient in high school and middle school. But most of your problem with the proficiency scores seems to be in the elementary age group. Is that correct?
Elementary was definitely our weakest point, for
But
sure.
middle school and high school, you 50%.
They were
proficiency.
on par, I would say, ish with most schools in the state. Yes.
That was my other question. If you look at state averages, is 50% average, or is that above?
In
I think it's
education,
above
we consider it probably is. We
Because
consider
it's
the
NAEP. We're
50th
talking about
percent.
NAEP.
Right. Oh, on NAEP.
Are we talking? Okay. Gotcha. They answered my question up here. That's fine. I'll open it up for some more questions. Senator Higdon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for your presentation. I'm very supportive of the virtual school program and what you do, with a few caveats, okay? One, Senator Givens and I back when charter school debate, and we had vendors wanting to do virtual schools, and always the question was, as far as the seat formula and what you get per day, whether charter schools should get the same amount that a brick and mortar school gets per day per student. And obviously you don't have all the same expenses. So that would be something I'd like to see some consideration on as we redo this, but I am supportive. I guess the other thing, the 175 teachers, they're all participating in TRS.
Correct. They are all direct employees of the Cloverport Board of Education. They pay into teacher retirement. They have same health benefits and so forth.
10 sick days, 3 personal days.
Yes, they're on our salary schedule for the district.
What about
yes.
annual leave?
Same. Their annual leave would be it's the 10 sick days and 3 personal days is what we offer.
No, the annual leave like a superintendent or administrator would get.
No, they're all 185, with the exception of our principals, our
Administrators.
240 day. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify the previous conversation, you were in the top 50th percentile of schools, not necessarily 50% proficient. I think that's the proper.
Okay. Yeah,
that's
that. I think
which is
you're
good.
Right. Yes. Yes.
You're above average. Gotcha. Senator Tishner.
Thank you. I just want to say to the parents that testified, my story is very similar to your story, and no one tells you when you have kids how challenging the educational element of raising children can be, especially when you factor in a student that might have special learning needs and trying to find the right environment for them to learn in, which was why I fought so hard to pass Amendment 2 so that we could have school choice. I believe within the public school system, this school is a prime example of school choice, and it's able to accommodate kids that don't fit or parents who don't want their kids in the public school traditional setting. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you guys for your testimony. And this was news to me that there was some opportunity for a closure. I did not know about that. Opportunity is probably not the right word, but a potential for a closure. I was unaware of that. A couple of questions that I have for you. I would be interested to know a breakdown of students who are enrolled for health reasons, to accommodate maybe if they're very skilled in sports and this accommodates their sports program and training, former homeschool students. If you had that breakdown and could send it to us, I think that would be, it's just interesting to me to see that. And then I think it would be interesting to see how test scores align with some of those backgrounds as kids are coming in from different environments. The other question I had for attendance, how do you track it? We have truancy problems across the state. Are you seeing some of the same trends in truancy, or are your attendance rates better or worse?
I would say we track it by when they're in their online sessions and their online activity and so forth. Is truancy better or worse? I would say one of the things we found is you do find, and students find very quickly, there's a slim percentage that I think feel like they can duck accountability for truancy by signing up for KYVA. They find out very quickly that they're wrong, and our director of pupil personnel, you should see the miles on his vehicle of doing home visits and things like that. We wear the courts out as far as that goes. I mean, there's no leniency as far as attendance goes. And it's, again, we hold kids accountable for that. It's probably, our attendance rate is probably a little lower than most schools in the state, but it's constantly improving.
And just to clarify, are you also receiving your SEEK dollars in the same manner that our public schools in person receive those from daily attendance?
Yes, the SEEK formula is the same regardless of, and that's statewide. Any district that has a virtual program, the SEEK works the same essentially. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, for the record, there are many schools that do across the state that do virtual, and it's set up the same way. Senator Rawlings next.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a comment too, following up Senator Tishner's comments. We experienced a little bit of this. Our youngest daughter in her senior year took virtual courses, and it worked out so well. So really supportive of programs like this. We have to have educational options. I also was for Amendment 2 for this very reason. You're a great example of that. And as Senator Tishner requested, it'd be interesting to know when the students come in and out of the program, how many you have there for 12 years, how many just come in like my daughter in a senior year. That kind of thing would be interesting to know.
Next we have Senator Reed. We've got about 3 minutes. You'll be the final question of this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for everyone who come out here. I see lots of my people here. My wife and I, we have 6 children, and we've educated them in just about every opportunity and different manner that is available to us, to include homeschool, all different types of virtual type of learning, and in-person school. So I can relate and appreciate everyone here. My question is pretty simple, and you may have already alluded to this, but what are the cost differences between providing education virtually versus in person? Do you know that?
As far as a whole dollar amount, I mean, no, I can't really give you that exactly. You think about the things, obviously, that you don't need, and that's facilities for the most part. You don't have to pay custodians, bus drivers, and things like that. Really, the SEEK formula already accounts for the transportation side of things. You only get funded for kids who actually ride the bus, even in your brick and mortar schools. So there's that element that we don't have to worry about. On the technology side and the curriculum side, though, there is that additional cost of technology for every student. You may have to provide, if you have students who do not have quality internet service at their home, we may have to provide that for them. Things like that, and different materials that you would provide for students. Shipping costs for all of that stuff is obviously an added expense that you would have. The logistics and the cost of testing kids, setting up these regional testing centers for them to report to take state assessments, that there's usually a fee attached to those places, and also just the mileage you have to pay for the staff to go there and so forth. So there are subtle differences. I wish I could give you a like per pupil amount. I really can't though.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Ask if the students are allowed to participate in sports in their district.
Oh yeah, that's another question I had as well. Are students allowed to participate in sports? How does that work?
The way it works is essentially if they want to participate in KHSAA sports, it would have to be with our school district.
Okay.
Yes, they could not participate in their home school district, and they know that. That's one of the things we make sure they understand. Hey, you can't go to whatever high school you were and play on the basketball team.
Okay.
You have to play for ours. None have taken that option, by the way. If anyone wants to throw that out that we're trying to stack our teams, we are not. So.
Well, I can agree that you would agree with me and that parents know best for their students. So I wish the best. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. That'll be the final question of this committee. I think it's safe to say this committee has been very enlightening. I think most of the people up here may have come into the meeting with a set of preconceived ideas of what was happening and that sort of thing, and you all have done an excellent job in presenting and representing your school. So that will be it for today. Thank you so much for coming. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Committee's adjourned.
All right. Do I need to see you soon? Oh, well, get a handle and let me know.